Since the dawn of time, there have been moments where humanity has prospered, standing at the apex of the food chain and dominating everything with our advanced intellect. But thanks to creator Yasutaka Fujimi, high school students are thrown into ever-growing situations of nope, and have genuinely made me pause the watching of this hour and 16-minute long experience that, yes, I do in fact regret with every fiber of my being. So, speaking from someone who has developed a fear of insects, everything in this movie is like a living nightmare to me.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Michael with a B, and I've been afraid of insects my entire
Stop. Where? Where's the bee?
There's a bee?
And possibly others watching, because insects like butterflies are now threats. And the imagery that they use to showcase that is definitely not for the faint of heart. So in the spirit of spooky season, here's a treat for everyone. The Island of Giant Insects, aka the Island of Nope. In the opening moments, we see some of our main cast and the current power dynamic between humanity and six-legged monstrosities, which I thought was a nice touch to add, showing humans who hate them, can't stand them, or are even terrified of them. It was a nice touch, I'll give them that. So our story kicks off with a plane crash that strands our main cast of characters on an isolated island in a region that I'm not even going to begin to try and pronounce.
なんて読む？東の小島かな。ああ、それだったら東のじゃなくて東の小島だね。
And from here is where all things go downhill. This girl, who we will call Hiking Girl, trails off to use the restroom, but finds one of the first monstrosities we'll encounter on this little journey we're going on together. The butterfly. And in this world, it is just about as terrifying as you think it is. And when two of them get a hold of you, oh boy, do things get nasty. Unfortunately for her and two other named but totally forgettable characters, they all perish in this encounter. So after our main character uses a bigger than it should be fireball to stop the butterfly from giving this girl the good suck, she suddenly feels bad for them for some reason, even though she knows it would have killed her if she didn't act and take it out. And so after this awe-inspiring and definitely traumatic event for those involved, and for the ones watching as well, we get our true main cast of characters consisting of Tidiana Jones, don't underestimate the softball team, Schoolgirl, the homie, the bitch, Guy from Bleach, and this guy who is this guy that was in a background shot from My Hero Academia's first episode. You'll understand why later. And Deadweight. The group decides to utilize the Joestar special family technique of getting the hell out of there. Eventually, they start hearing sounds reminiscent of a helicopter's propeller. After running towards the noise, they do not in fact find a helicopter, but instead encounter the worst possible insect to ever exist, ever.
Oh, me? Oh, I'm a wasp, and I like to hurt people. I like it. That's it? Yep.
This actual fucking nightmare ambushes Schoolgirl, and we get this lovely visual from this anime. Crunchyroll. Why did you put this on your site? I hate this. With the schoolgirl having been kidnapped by everyone's worst nightmare, she's flown back to its nest, and Tidiana Jones is going after her, because in an earlier scene, she tells everyone that her phone is waterproof and managed to survive the plane crash. And Tidiana Jones feels that is what is best. And before I continue any further, just know that the fact that this actually happens to insects, and as we will see...
Hey, stop! Why? I just don't get it. I always catch you fuckers watching this sick shit. This is sickening.
It being depicted with humans disturbed me down to my very core. As soon as Schoolgirl was taken, Tidiana Jones knew there was a time limit on her life, because if they didn't save her fast enough, then eggs would hatch, and the larvae would burrow inside her and eat her from the inside, as the victim is completely paralyzed from the wasp's initial sting, while they're being slowly devoured from the inside and the outside by giant worms. And just the visual of them makes me ill. The rescue of Schoolgirl is successful, and both her and the guy from My Hero are saved. Again, you'll see why eventually. And after that grueling encounter with something that I would not wish upon even my worst of enemies, we get more reasons why you should never go outside again. In a later scene, the bitch is told to hold still because there's something on her back. And it's revealed that ticks are now the size of footballs on this cursed island. And after a scene straight out of a horror movie, we get the most terrifying imagery of ticks ranging from the size of a baby's fist to a softball literally falling from the sky. They make it out of the nest without anyone getting hurt, thankfully, and Tidiana Jones thinks they need to bathe in a nearby spring to drown any ticks if there are any on them. And so after a totally unnecessary amount of fan service in this horror anime, we find out that the unconscious guy from My Hero is fucked beyond repair because there's something there. Eventually, the group managed to find what looks like a research station where they managed to find some food and some water. But as soon as the homie Kai goes off screen, that is when shit hits the fan yet again. In order to help the people who have had little to no dialogue in this movie, they need to drink saline solution given to them through mouth to mouth, because they can't drink it on their own. And here, we clearly see that the guy from Bleach is not a true friend, because he doesn't kiss his homies like he should. What an insult. And we finally see why this guy is this guy from My Hero. I told you it would make sense. So Slugboy climbs a nearby tower and attracts the attention of the final boss of this terrible experience, an enormous Dobbins fly. And since her name is Bitch, she must act accordingly, as her name suggests, locking nearly half of the people who have done nothing but save her dumbass every 10 minutes. Absolutely ungrateful. The next scene that plays out is just straight up infuriating and almost made me not make this video. Because Bitch is a bitch, she thinks the best decision to do to a person who is slowly recovering from full body paralysis is by having this guy's meat stick inside her mouth to keep her quiet, because she just wants to save her friend. But in the next scene that follows, that actually made me cheer with joy, Kai returns and knocks both of them out with a fire extinguisher, like I would have done in the first 5 minutes of knowing these people, and completely saved the day and returned my faith in humanity by knocking the fuck out of people. Thank God for Kai. So after being tied up, hopefully forever, I hate these two, the group decided that the Dabansfly needs to die in the most elaborate plan ever. And the scene that follows is just the weirdest thing I have ever seen in anything. What we get is a scene of Tidiana Jones walking down a hallway that happens for way too long. They decided to turn the radio tower into a giant bug zapper, which works, but also in turn fucked up their only place of shelter that could have saved their lives. And this is how it ends. They leave the building saying that they need to survive for 2 more days until help arrives. You heard me right. Everything that happens in this movie takes place over the course of a day. This hurt my brain so much. You have no idea. Reviews are supposed to be fun. This wasn't fun to watch. I hated every single frame of this shit. I'm not ready for the next one.